This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Rana Shaikh, and she works as a Vice President of Bank of America, and also she has been appointed by Martin O'Malley, the Governor of Maryland, in a South Asian Commission, and she will tell you all about it. Rana, welcome to our show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
So tell me a little bit about what's your background, and then tell me what do you do,
Okay.
and tell me when and why were you appointed to this commission, and what do you do?
Okay, sure. I'll try not to make it a very lengthy story. So background, my parents are originally from India and Pakistan. Father was born in Delhi, mother was born in Pakistan. And I was born and raised here with my 3 other siblings.
In Massachusetts, Connecticut.
Connecticut, yes,
Right.
That's right. New England. So in regards to professional background, I am currently a commercial banker with Bank of America Merrill Lynch. I was involved with a business conference 2 years ago and got to meet a lot of the state officials for Maryland through that conference. And with that, I was asked to see if I would be interested in becoming a commissioner for the South Asian American Commission that was being newly formed, and I applied. Was probably one of the younger candidates who applied. So
Well, we need some young people, folks, there, so they can carry on.
So it was a great opportunity. I was officially appointed in August of 2012. The commission is a great opportunity to represent the community, and it has been a unique and enriching experience.
What are the initiatives? What do they do? And why is it important?
That's a really good question, and I get that a lot because it's, I think, a little difficult to understand what a commission perhaps may do. So the commission, I guess in a nutshell, does 2 things that I like to kind of describe it as. One is to understand the governor's agenda and to disseminate it within
So
the
what is the
community.
governor's agenda
Well, I think that varies.
when it comes to South Asian?
Well, I think that varies. I think you are going to address issues that the community are interested in learning more about.
Such as?
Business initiatives. A lot
Sure.
of the South Asian community are business owners or are active in the business community. So understanding different programs that are available to them that they may make use of and become a part of. Other issues such as community issues, whether it's immigration issues, if it's women's rights, domestic violence, health issues.
Education?
Education is one of them as well, absolutely. And I know that's something that's close to your heart as well.
It is. I'm writing a book on it.
Well, great. I look forward to reading that.
Sure.
So those are some of the issues that are focused on in regards to the commissions and different initiatives.
What have been your accomplishments since you have been selected, not elected? What have you done?
So some of the interests that I personally have is obviously business because that is my professional background. I had the opportunity to chair the Asian American Business Conference for 2013.
Yes, I was there. I
Yes,
was
you
part
were.
Of it. I gave
you
a
were
speech.
a keynote.
Yeah, I was a keynote speaker.
Yes, absolutely.
And thank you for inviting me.
No, we appreciate you coming out and speaking, and it's very enriching to hear a South Asian American who has become so successful.
Well, thank
in
you
the
very
business
much.
Community.
That's not me, that's you.
So that was one part of the events that I was a part of in co-hosting and organizing last year. In addition, we have a couple of other initiatives that are in kind of the works, I guess.
So why don't you shed some bright light on that?
Sure. We're currently getting ready to release 3 health handbooks for the Hindu community, the Sikh community, and the Muslim communities that will be distributed to...
What's the difference between Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh community? Tell me a little bit about the health.
Wow. So that's a loaded question. To give it a brief answer, culturally there's a lot of similarities.
Sure.
There are some differences when it comes to practicing in regards to the faith.
Sure.
And I think that's where the difference kind of needs to be acknowledged and differentiated. There are dietary restrictions. There are some things that are not allowed in the various faiths.
Sure.
And those, I think, if medical professionals had the opportunity to know, would be able to provide better care. So we are in the works of actually getting those books published and released.
So it's a handbook.
So yes, it's a handbook for medical professionals.
Do's or don't, right?
Yes, that's probably a nice way to sum it up.
Well, that's good. Well, as a Muslim, we both of us share a common faith
Yes, we do.
and the same similar background. we don't eat pork products and we don't drink and
Right.
all those things. So I'm sure those are a part of the things you do, things you do not.
Yes.
Those are part of the handbook.
Yes,
Correct.
absolutely. And I mean, I think one thing
That's an
too-
important initiatives.
Absolutely. And I think it'll be very beneficial to the community. Maryland is a very diverse state, so I
It
think
is.
it helps in being able to give background information on the various communities.
So
and-
how do you disseminate this information?
Well, currently, we are in the process of getting everything okayed, because everything that goes to the
Well, it's
state.
the government, man.
Yes,
What do you
absolutely.
expect?
So we're in the process of that. So they will be disseminated electronically as well as through print.
Makes sense.
Yes.
So you're going to go door to door to hand it to people?
No, I think we'll probably look for a little bit of a more efficient process and probably distributing to some of the larger entities through the state.
Well, we want to thank you for serving the community as well as serving the state of Maryland. Tell the audience, why should anybody will be engaged and involved in all these things? What does it do to them? How does it create a common cause, and is it important?
I absolutely think it's important to be involved in public service in whatever capacity that may be. I think there is a lack of representation of the community on local, state, and federal levels, and I think it's important for the community to get involved. If you want your issues to be addressed,
So you want to make sure the voices are heard. You have a seat on the table,
Absolutely.
correct?
Yeah, so when decisions are made, you actually have a voice in the process, and I think that's important. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You can start in high school, you can start in college, you can start as a professional, you can start later in life, but you should get involved.
So the politics define the landscape of a nation.
Absolutely.
Why should we pay? Why should we make a campaign contribution to the politicians? Somebody will be interested to know. Why would they do that?
That's a fun question to be asked. Well, I think if you are in the voting populace, you want to support somebody who supports your ideals and represents you well.
Ideals, you said.
Yes,
And the vision, and the values,
absolutely.
and the mission.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So you have a share in common goals
Absolutely.
and a common commitment. All right. So you're the vice president of a big bank, Bank of America. So what's your aspirations here? What do you want to do when you grow up?
When I grow up, I'm still a Toys R Us kid, so I'm hoping to accomplish the growing up part soon. In regards to professional aspirations, I've had a lot of experience, I guess, in the business segment when it comes to the commercial area.
Because you work for the Bank of America,
Yes.
and your client is mostly small business?
Yes, it is small business. Working
So how do you make the capital accessible to the small business community? Because that's one of the foremost problems and challenges the small business faces.
Sure. Well, I think it depends on the client, it depends on the need, and then it needs to make sense financially. I think those are the three components that need to be met in order for us to provide capital.
So what about the fact that somebody started the business and they have a lot of aspirations and dream in this country, and you already said they're giving the hope and opportunities, and they don't even have their firstborn, and the bankers wants the firstborn.
So it looks like you're talking about startup businesses. So that seems the first piece of the pie. So startup businesses for traditional financial institutions are a little bit more difficult to provide financing for because there isn't actually a track record of the company.
They don't have the past performance.
Absolutely. But
So it's a chicken and egg situation.
it is. But there are resources out there.
Okay, tell me a little bit about, tell the audience, what's the resources besides small business?
Well, for somebody who's looking to get financing at a very initial stage,
right.
microfinancing is definitely an
Good
option.
point, microfinance. Going to small business?
Yes, absolutely.
Administration, SBA?
Yeah, SBA is another good tool.
What about the state level? Is anything available for the state levels?
There is. Most of the counties have EDCs, which
Okay.
are Economic Development Corps.
Very good, sir, very well. And I know Montgomery County does a great job.
Absolutely. Prince George's County has a wonderful program as well. A lot of the other counties have representation, and even our neighboring state does as well.
Sure,
So
the state of Virginia.
Yes. So it's great resources to tap into as a new business
So you
owner.
need to harness those resources.
Absolutely, and they're free.
They're
so
free.
You should look into your local county and state programs to see what's available to help you in your initial stages.
If you are a budding entrepreneur
Sure.
and you have been successful in business, what advice do you have for them?
Well, I think it's always good to give back. I'm a firm believer in that.
You believe in the fact that to whom much is given, much is expected.
I've heard that line somewhere
Well,
before.
I said that several speeches. Do well, but do good.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
I think as a successful business owner or any person with any type of success under their belt, I think it's important to give back. Whether that's mentoring somebody or helping somebody through a process to get them to the next step, whether that be in their business or perhaps professionally.
Why would people get engaged in philanthropic activities? Why should they? What is in it for them?
Besides the write-off?
Well, it still costs you 50% of the capital.
Sure.
More than that, as a matter of fact.
Well, philanthropic efforts, I think, are important. It shows that you care about where you live, the community that you're a part of, and that you have a cause that may be dear to your heart.
So it's to create a common cause.
Yeah, I think that's one way of looking at it. And I know that you share a lot in philanthropic
I do.
activities, but I think it's important to have something that you stand behind, that you support.
You said to me about the line that I said, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes.
I've always said, my fondest hope and expectation is that America that has provided the latest opportunity for all of us to succeed, it is high time they return the investment back in America by sharing and by giving back.
I agree with that.
Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is how we're going to make it sustainable. What advice do you have for what made you so successful that you want to pass on to the next generation, that they will become successful, they will become the vice president of the largest corporation in the world? What made you so successful?
I think there's a lot of components to that. To list them in a nutshell, I'd have to give thanks to my parents.
So that gave you the firm foundation for you to flourish.
Absolutely.
And education.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
what else?
I think having good leadership and good mentors along the way. It's important to be able to lean on people who have been successful in an area that you're interested in, and never to be afraid to ask a question if you don't know. I think that's important, and we sometimes kind of don't give it the importance that it deserves, that it's okay to not know everything, but the way that you become successful is asking questions and learning from your experience and growing from that.
So what's the advice do you have for the young generation, the audience, for that matter, for everybody, including myself, how to start a business?
You're asking me to give you advice, somebody who's very successful already.
To start a business, what do you do, and what will be the what about the secret of their success? And there's no secret sauce for all this success. What do you have to do? Besides working hard, aiming high, pursuing their dream, willing to take a risk and confront what you all call, all kinds of problems and challenges with ingenuity and creativity.
Sure. So it looks like you've asked two questions. You asked about myself, and then you've asked about new businesses and what they can do for growth. For myself professionally, if I was to say anything for those who are looking to excel or move up in their respective fields, is know your craft. Knowledge is power, and knowing what you are representing and the segment that you're representing, I think, is important. So understand what it is that you are going to be selling, talking about, presenting, or producing perhaps. In regards to new businesses, there's a lot of things to be said. Depending on growth and where you may be in the stage of your business, make sure you have the right resources available to you, whether that is your commercial banker, your attorney, your CPA, a mentor perhaps from your industry. Those are all key important factors to success.
Those are the key ingredient of taking to the next level.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you have to write your own legacy, what did you just say about your legacy?
Wow. What would I say about my legacy? Well, if I was
Wittingly, unwittingly, we all writing our own legacy that lives in bright lights and dark shadows, and those shadows should be everywhere. You want to create another Rana Shaikh? Is that what your legacy that you leave behind?
I think that would be nice to aspire to. I think if I was to have a few things left behind, I would like to be remembered with a couple of things. One, that I did good, and I was a good person.
Sure.
In regards to my professional area of expertise, that I was helpful and remembered well by those that I worked with.
And you created the next generation.
Yes, absolutely.
And stay true to you.
Yes.
And do something special and extra for anyone.
Absolutely.
Live your own life, as Stephen Jobs said. Thank you very much, Rana.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome. And you did well.
Thank you.